Alright, in the last video we talked about the image tag, and we looked at the various attributes like the width and the height of our image that we can use to control the attributes of our image. Now, it's not I also want to mention that using the width and height attributes for your images may not be the best way to render your images, because let me just get rid of the width and height so that I can show you properly. Save. Now this image right here is actually the image being rendered in your browser, and when you set the height and width attributes to control this image, you are not actually reducing the size of the image. You are only formatting it so that your browser shows this smaller image, but what is actually being rendered is this big image right here. And what does that mean for us? It means that it contributes to slow load time, because despite the fact that that small image is showing right here, this is actually what is rendering in the browser. And imagine your site is going to be having like multiple images. You're having different images, one image for your logo, maybe you're having an e-commerce site and you're having different images there, and you do this for all these images, your sites are going to load slower because you are actually rendering all of them. The browser is actually rendering the big images, but you're formatting it with this. Now the best way to to the best way to correct this would be to actually use maybe the resize property you have. If you're using Windows, you can use the resize property and resize your image, the dimensions of your image. Now let's first check our dimensions. The dimension of this image is 512 by 512. We can actually reduce this with Windows, or if you're using Mac, I think there's an app for that. And so we can resize the image from here. We can if we want a 50 by 50 image, we can go 50 by 50 here. We save the resize copy, and let's name this patron one. Save, and I think that should be saved. Now we can oh damn, I didn't check the directory where I saved that. Alright, I forgot to change the directory to my working directory, so I'm gonna just head quickly to pictures and do a quick cut and paste. Pictures, okay, is the default directory where you're gonna have your resize photo save. Now we can even see from here that the resize picture is looking smaller, so we can just come back to our text editor and we can change the image to picture 1, which is the new image we have here. I'm gonna close this, save, and we have our image. Now this is rendering the proper dimension of the image without constituting to the load time. It is very important if you want to optimize your site. So that's what I want to show. Let's add another image, just for the fun of it. Let me go to pixels. Let's add another image to our web browser. Get some image from pixels. Now I also want to show you that something I failed to mention is that HTML is white space collapsing, and what that means is that HTML is going to ignore extra white spaces on your text editor and on your web browser. So let's say you have a heading 3 and you have hello world, and for some reason you feel that maybe it's going to be better if this hello world has some extra spaces within, and you put these spaces here, and when you save, you're going to see here that HTML ignored all the extra white spaces and returned hello world as it is to you. The same thing is going to happen if you try to put space between the heading 3 tag and the paragraph tag. Uh, Once you save, even because we have Emmet and Prettier installed, it's going to correct this for us in our browser, but in the web page is not going to render. So if you are using any other text editor, there may be spaces in between your tags and or your letters. Maybe you have 10 spaces here and you save, it may save as it is like this. You may actually see this space in your text editor like this, but it's not going to render your browser. HTML will ignore the extra spaces between your text because it is white space collapsing. That is just what it means. Alright, so now we've covered white space collapsing. Let me show you how to properly put spaces or paragraph in your HTML document. Let's get our image file first. Let me say I want the image of a computer. Let me temporarily just expand it so we can get our image from Pexel. Okay, I have a nice image here. Let me download this. Okay, so we have our image. I'm gonna just copy and paste this in my working directory. Yes, I have to rename it so that it's easier. Okay, Excel, sign to laptop. And we can paste this in our image folder. So we have an image in our text editor. We can come back here and render it. Okay. So I said I was going to show you how to put spaces, or I'm going to show you how to put, okay. So I said I will show you how to put paragraph between your work. In order to do that, we use the an element called the BR. And remember, I taught you guys about some special elements called empty elements that only have that are self-closing. So BR is one of them. And what this does is it puts an extra line of space between your work. So if I save this now, you're going to notice that there's going to be a space between the hello world and your paragraph. So save, and you can see that extra space there. Now you can put as many line break tags as you want, and it's going to achieve the same effect. Okay, so we have it here. For some reason my live server is having some issues today. I don't know why. So another way to have a space between your work is also to use the is obviously to use the paragraph tag. If I should place another paragraph here, let me save this first so that's okay. If I should place another paragraph tag here, maybe this will be 50 words, and save, there's going to be a space between this paragraph, this first paragraph here, and this other one here. So just to illustrate to you how to properly put spaces between your text. So generally, if you're going to put spaces between your elements, you're actually going to use the line break tag known as the BR. Okay, so you have that already. Now now we've covered that, I want to put my image, and let me show you how to I'm gonna introduce comments to you, just to differentiate some things for you. Now, comments are things. Okay, let me just have some text here that says um, image of patron. Save. So we have this. So I will have a simple image here saying image of patron. I'm gonna put another image. The new image we got from Pexels lab. Okay, I think it's Pexels laptop.jpg. I'm gonna put laptop as the alt. Save this. Okay, sorry, I didn't get all my directory properly. Save this, and sure enough, we have a very huge image right here, almost banner like, or even more, that we have to scroll through to see. Now, so you can see the importance of resizing your image. Imagine rendering this in your browser and just controlling this with just your HTML code. Your browser is going to suffer from serious load times if you have multiple images like this and you do not crop them properly so that your sites can load faster. So you really have to resize your images before you render them. But since I'm just working on a development server, I'm just going to set it here, maybe 200 by width would be, sorry, I'm forgetting, forgot to put my pixels. So we have height 200 and width 200 pixels. Please always put your codes in, the value for your attributes in between. So we have a better looking image right here, and I'm gonna just name this image. I'm gonna put let me say a heading 3 tag here saying image of laptop. Let me take this, let me call this and paste it so that it's not like a heading for this. I will just change this to maybe H32, H3. So we have our image of patron and our image of laptop right here, and is looking nice. So another thing I want to introduce to you guys is your link tag, which is very important. So when we talk about links, we're talking about a way to link your documents within your web page, or to link to have a link that takes you to an external source or an external resource online. Maybe you're referencing a site for extra materials or extra information that a user can get from your website, and to do that we use the anchor tag. So the anchor tag has these href attributes which directs you to, which controls where you are to go. So we have the anchor tag, and with this we can just put our link. Let me say Wikipedia for animals will be the link, and once we save, sure enough, we have our link here, Wikipedia for animals. Now if we click this, nothing is going to happen. That is because we have not specified the href attribute. This href attribute is actually going to tell the link here where to go. This Wikipedia for animals is a link, but it doesn't have the website you should go to. It doesn't have the URL. So we're going to be putting our URL in this href attribute, and we're going to be writing it in full, maybe https dot slash slash. But just to be on the safer side, I'm going to actually Google this because I just wrote something random. Wikipedia for animals. I don't know if it exists. Okay, I think this will do. So just to be on the safer side, it would be better for me to actually just copy this link. I'm gonna control A this and paste it right here. Okay, so we have our Wikipedia for animals sites here, and let me just go back to our development server. So once I hit this button, it should take me to Wikipedia for, sorry, I didn't save this, save. So once I hit this button, it should take me to our website, our external resource, Wikipedia for animals. So sure enough, we're getting the URL here, and sure enough, we have our link. But you probably do not want people leaving your website, because what this did right here was move away from our website into a new website. So to prevent that from happening, you don't want people to be leaving your website, we can introduce another attribute of the anchor tag called the target attribute. And if we set this target attribute to underscore blank, underscore blank, and save this, what this blank does is it's going to take us away from it's going to create a new tab that would take us to the external resource. So once I click here, it's going to open in a new tab. You see, we still have our website on this tab, and we have the external resource loading on this tab. So the target blank is a very useful attribute. It automatically opens the link in the new tab so that your visitors do not leave your site into a new site that's cumbersome, and somehow I just think this makes more sense. Okay, so we've covered some important things. Another important thing I would want to cover is the comments. So we have comments in HTML. What comments means is just a piece of text or information. It's just a piece of information we put in our code just to probably describe or help us remember some blocks of code, or maybe something we want to introduce into our code. And they are just information you as the programmer puts in your code just to help you. So whatever exists in the comments do not show in your web browser. It is only for anybody that reads the code, for them to be able to understand maybe what some particular blocks of code does, or what to introduce in a particular block of code. Now, to put a comment in your VS Code, all you just need to do is press Ctrl and the backward slash key, and you have your comments here. But if you're not using VS Code, you can just type the left angle bracket, the exclamation mark, then your two hyphen, then another two hyphen, and your right angle bracket. So this is the code for your comment. Now whatever you put in between this code is not going to render on your browser. If I save this, you are not going to see another image of Patreon here, or let me say Patreon site is not going to show you. So it's just going to be in your code editor, and this is very useful for you throughout your career, because maybe there are some things you may want to introduce in a particular block of code later, or there are some information you may want to give the back end developer to explain some things and other things. So it just helps your workflow easier. So we've come to the end of today's session, and I will see you in the next tutorial. If you've not done so already, like the video and subscribe to the channel, and also hit the notification bell so that I can get